Today we're going to put our pages into our album, and we've made our mat boards. If it's been a couple days since you've done your mat boards, there might be a little bit of puckering. This is one reason we use glue and tape, but you could just take a bone folder, smooth anything out. In your bag of goodies, there's a little piece of plastic wrap, cling wrap or something. In that bag, or in that piece of paper, you're going to see a lot of things stuck to it, are your magnets. Remember, the magnets are dangerous to children. All the little pieces stuck to the magnets. So make sure you don't lose any of the little pieces when you take your magnets out. You'll just need your magnets today. And I tend to keep a magnet on my desk and put the magnets I'm going to use, or think I'm going to use, on a magnet. That keeps them in one place. So when you're done with your magnets, if you have any left, wrap them up or tape them somewhere so you won't lose them and get animals and children would be harmed. Okay, now you're going to need 17 or less of these 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 pages. I am not going to put them on today, but as I place magnets, I'll show you where they might go and where to put your magnets. We are going to use, remember the last class, we put a double-sided tape between our scored areas. Well, today we're going to use double-sided tape, but also this. I'm going to have another, I need one more. That one feels low. Just a second. Don't want to run out of glue. I like putting extra glue for 2 reasons. Holds it secure once it's dry, but it gives it some movability while it's wet. And you want these albums to last a while. So when we finish putting our things together, we've turned the page upside down. So we're going to start from the beginning and put our pages on. This is the back cover, and it will go around there. I'm using an ATC gun, Advanced or ATG gun, just for ease. I've been having difficulty getting replacements for this, but now I notice that Amazon has a generic brand that is acid-free, and it's a pretty reasonable way to go for glue. Let's see. I'm going to put a little bit of glue in the corners and on the edge because I want a nice seal. The other thing glue does, besides getting messy here, is it gives you some movability if you don't place the paper correctly the first time around. Just add a little in the middle. This is all going to be decorated later, so it won't matter. And this is going on the front cover. It should leave about 1/8 of an inch around. Now a Teflon tool, it's not necessarily called anything particularly, but tool, will not leave marks on black paper. That's why I invested in one. Okay, now remember the album is going top to bottom and flipping out. So in this direction, I want you to open your album. We're going to take the next 4 pieces. Is it 3 or 4? I don't remember. Looks like just 3. We have a bond. I'm just checking my pile really quickly. I dropped my pile yesterday, so it might be out of whack. Well, let's put it this way. If there's 4, I think there's just 3. If there's 4, I can add it later. Now, we've already scored these, but if you want them flexible, so if you want to bend them back a little bit, that's fine. And our first one is going to be right near the edge with just about 1/16 of an inch. So you remove the tape, and I'm going to remove all of it. Sometimes I leave tails for placement. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue. You don't have to do this, but it makes it very secure for later. And I'm going to place this lining up straight on the sides. And for the second one, we do the same thing. Make sure it's flexible. Tear off your backing. I have a little bare spot there, so make sure the whole piece has adhesive of some sort. I'm going to line this up right at the bottom of the folded piece before. Like so. And before I press it down, I want to make sure it's lined up. That's why it helps having that liquid glue. You can move it a little. That looks even. So I'll burnish it. Okay, my third piece. Now, this one, I am going to, let's see, if I put it here, it's the right size, but then this will show underneath. If I put it on top of the last one, it'll still be in the right position, but it won't show. So I'm going to place it right on top of my last flow. Add a little glue. And putting it right under the original score line. And before I burnish it, putting my pages down to make sure they look straight. They do. Lift it up and burnish. Now in your last page, because we did it that way, there'll be no seam line there. Okay, now we're going to put this little bit of tag, and I don't know how I'm decorating this album yet, so I'm just going to take off this little tag, put a little glue. It's got, remember it has 2, I don't know if you can see it, but it had 2 scores, so on the first, so that gives you room for thickness. So I put a little bit of glue. Find the middle, and I'm just eyeballing it. And right at the second score line, place it down. There we go. Okay. Now, this will flop over here, and we're going to be putting a magnet there. Now we're going to do this part. We have, so this is your top waterfall, and we'll be adding a magnet. I'm not sure if I just do all the magnets at once. I think that's what I'll do. Okay, this one has the next two pieces have 2 scores, and we're going to put them on the sides, like so, like that. So I take off my tape of one of them. And I see a little piece of hair there, so I'll make sure I get that out. And I'm going to attach this to the side. Let's see, Scotty. So I want to make sure I don't get in the fold. It's actually about almost 1/8 of an inch from the fold. And I want it to line up on the bottom. It's almost to the edge of the paper. When it stands up, yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to burnish that. Make it nice and smooth. Now we're going to put this one on the opposite side, so they'll sort of overlap like that. So we take off the tape. Add some glue. And put it on the side. This is close to the other side. I want to make sure they lined up. So, looks good. Once I have it in place, I'll open it up and burnish it. See a little bubble there, so just wipe out that bubble. That looks good. Now our next 2 pieces are also scored twice. And we're going to do the same procedure over again. This time, it's going at the top and bottom. I have 2 tapes going, two glues going here, sorry. Spread that out a little bit if you get any thickness. So I want it below the score, but centered within the other scores. So none of the scores overlap. Really important. And if you get a little bit of glue on, like I just did, you'll be able to fix that. I push that kind of hard, but I want to make sure it's straight. Let's see here. So it's not touching that score line, it's not touching this score line, so we're good. That's your top flap. Now this one I do the same way. This will be, probably should have got something pokey here too. I'd have difficulty sometimes getting the lining of the tape off. If you do have difficulty, sometimes you have to burnish the tape down in order to remove the lining. So just for that lining. So going to my right. My trash can used to be on my right. It's on my left now. It's driving me crazy. Okay, add a little bit of glue, because when that hardens, it'll give you flexibility now, but when it hardens, it'll be nice and secure. This one's going on the bottom. Again, between the score lines. So I see the score there, I see the score there, I see the score there. As long as you can see the scores, they're not on top of it. Very important. Remember, you have 2 scores. There we go. Because you're going to be making a box in the inside of this album. Okay. So we have side, top. Now we do our gatefolds. Now if you remember when I cut these out, I scored these. One of them I made an extra score line, and I'm not worrying about it. But I'll start with that one. These go sideways. And the gatefold has to line up in the middle. So that's kind of important. But again, you do not want to go through any score lines. So I'll just lay this here. This is going here. This is going here. Oh, this seems too tall. I don't think I have the right piece. That's the top flap. Let's fix that. This is maybe why you put labels on them. I have the wrong piece. If it doesn't fit in the fold lines, you might be like me and have the wrong piece. All right, let's try that again. Let's go right beside the fold line, not over it, so you can see all the score lines. Whoops, that moved. Try again. If you're just using dry, it won't move, but you want the flexibility of it moving in case you get it crooked. This has 2 fold lines, or 2 score lines. I want to make sure it comes up so it has room for the gate. This doesn't seem right. Let me see. I'm not sure where this fold line goes. I'm going to take this off because I'm afraid I don't have the gatefold in the right place. I'm going to wait on the gatefold, even though I put all this glue on here. Instead, I'm going to put that first one I did up top. Yeah, that looks better. We add the gatefold after. Well, if I goose this, we'll just start it again. Because I think this is going over this fold line, and that's not good. Okay, you're seeing me make a mess. Just seems a little bit too long. So I'm going to rectify it. And I'm going to, while this sits here and dries, I'm going to just look at my other album. So we have top, bottom, sides. Take this out. It is the gatefold. I think that my gatefold is scored in the wrong place. So let's go back to the gatefold. Got two the same size. And I'm just going to put it right in the corner and we'll go from there. Now this might be one of those videos where don't do as I say. Do it right. But maybe you can learn from my mistakes. This is the second time I've made this album. It seems like I should be okay. Okay. All right. This is going on top of that, and that does fit. So that works. Right up to the score line. Okay, I'm going to take time and burnish these down, since I took off some of that glue. Okay, let's do the bottom piece here. This is our little packet. And we're going to start by just putting the bottom piece on. This is a pocket that you can add things to. And I want it to go right near the score line. Add a little glue. You want it secure. There's going to be quite a bit in this little pocket. That looks good. And there is enough on that to work. Okay. Just checking my sides to make sure. This is the one I'm not sure is if it looks like it's too big. So I might be hand trimming this one after. I will give you the corrected measurement if I'm wrong on that. That looks good. Okay, we've got both scores. Okay, bottom's in the right place. I squeeze out a little glue. Now, we had a little teeny tab there that we cut when we cut it out, or we added the score, and I put a little dab of glue. So it'll stick in. Take my sides off. I'm going to put both sides up at the same time. This is not going as smoothly as I'd like, but we all learn with the process. Add a little glue to keep it secure. Remember there was a little glue there. I want these within the score lines. My scissors in there, I think, to anchor that down a little. Make sure it's glued. Okay. Now I see puckers here, so I'll teach you a little trick. See if I have a scrap paper around. I'll go in my trash and get a scrap paper. If you find a piece doesn't have enough glue on it, put a little bit of glue and almost use it like a paintbrush. You can stick it under tight areas. I'm going to do it twice. This is the one I took the piece off and put it back on. I think I must have measured that piece wrong because it is too big. Okay, now there's glue on there. More glue. Now I'm going to burnish it again. Get a tighter fit. We are going to have a pretty piece of decorative paper there, so that should hold it down. But that's how you can add extra glue. There we go. Now, I'm still not sure. I think I'm happy with this. This will go up and over, up and over. They should meet nicely in the middle. Very good. Now, we have some more pieces. Oh, that's our photo pad. Whoop, it didn't stay, it stuck. It came open, did you see that? I think I need to press it down more. Maybe a skinnier ruler. There we go. How to burnish those sides. Okay. This will go over it. This opens. This goes down. We'll get a magnet there. All right, why don't we put a couple magnets on? I'm at least going to put, that is larger. So be patient while I just make this a little smaller. If I was working and not on a video, I probably would have stopped and recut this piece to make sure it was very smooth. I'm not the greatest hand cutter.